Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Vanishing Point Mysteries, the channel where we dive deep into the mysteries that defy explanation. Tonight, we're looking at a case so strange, so chilling, it's still talked about in hushed tones decades later. We're talking about the Moonlight in Room 7's secret, a murder that is haunting the town of Millbrook to this very day. In the quiet town of Millbrook, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, stood the Moonlight Inn. Its weathered sign, barely visible from the winding road, promised a refuge for those seeking shelter from the night. But behind the peeling paint and flickering lights of Room 7, a chilling tale was about to unfold. This is the Moonlight in Room 7's secret. The Moonlight Inn was a forgotten relic of a bygone era, a place where time seemed to stand still. Its faded exterior and creaking floorboards told stories of countless travelers who had passed through its doors. The air inside was thick with the scent of stale cigarettes and cheap air freshener, a futile attempt to mask the years of neglect. Room 7, unremarkable in every way, blended seamlessly into the monotony of the inn's dreary corridors. That is, until one fateful morning when its anonymity was shattered forever. As dawn broke over Millbrook, casting long shadows across the inn's cracked parking lot, Sarah Thompson, the inn's longtime housekeeper, began her usual rounds. She approached Room 7 with the same resigned efficiency she brought to every task, expecting nothing more than rumpled sheets and discarded takeout containers. But as she inserted her master key and pushed open the door, a wave of icy dread washed over her. There, sprawled across the worn carpet, lay the motionless form of a man. Sarah's piercing scream echoed through the empty hallways, a sound that would haunt the Moonlight Inn for years to come. The air in Room 7 grew heavy, laden with the weight of an unspeakable crime. The victim was identified as James Hartley, a traveling salesman with no apparent connection to Millbrook or its residents. His lifeless eyes stared blankly at the ceiling, a silent witness to the violence that had befallen him. Detective Michael Ross, a seasoned investigator with the Millbrook Police Department, arrived on the scene within the hour. As he surveyed the room, his trained eye picked up on details that others might have missed. A half-empty glass on the nightstand, a crumpled receipt near the door, and most intriguingly, a single long blonde hair on the victim's jacket. As news of the murder spread through Millbrook like wildfire, the once quiet town found itself thrust into the spotlight. Reporters descended upon the Moonlight Inn, their cameras and microphones hungry for any morsel of information. The inn's owner, a reclusive man named Frank Dawson, retreated further into the shadows, refusing to speak to anyone about the incident. His silence only fueled the growing speculation and rumors that swirled through the town like a thick fog. Detective Ross and his team worked tirelessly, combing through every inch of Room 7 for clues. They interviewed guests, staff, and anyone who might have seen or heard something suspicious on the night of the murder. But with each passing day, the trail grew colder. The blonde hair found at the scene yielded no matches in the DNA database, and the fingerprints lifted from the room belonged only to the victim and the housekeeping staff. As weeks turned into months, the case of the Moonlight Inn murder remained unsolved. The initial fervor of the investigation gave way to a gnawing sense of frustration and defeat. Detective Ross found himself lying awake at night, his mind replaying every detail of the crime scene, searching for something, anything he might have overlooked. But the answers remained elusive, locked away in the silent walls of Room 7. The Moonlight Inn, once a place of quiet anonymity, now stood as a macabre tourist attraction. Curious onlookers would drive by slowly, their eyes fixed on the window of Room 7, as if expecting to glimpse some lingering specter of the crime. The other guests at the inn dwindled, leaving most rooms empty and silent. Only the most desperate or daring travelers chose to stay, perhaps hoping to catch a whisper of the mystery that had unfolded within its walls. As the one-year anniversary of the murder approached, a palpable tension settled over Millbrook. The town had changed, its innocence shattered by the knowledge that a killer walked free among them. Residents eyed strangers with suspicion, and doors that once stood open now remained firmly locked. The Moonlight Inn, once a symbol of weary travelers finding rest, had become a looming reminder of an unsolved crime. Detective Ross, unwilling to let the case go cold, continued to pursue every lead, no matter how small. He re-interviewed witnesses, pored over security footage from nearby businesses, and even consulted with psychics in a desperate attempt to uncover new information. But each potential breakthrough led only to another dead end, another false hope dashed against the harsh reality of a perfect crime. As the seasons changed and years passed, the Moonlight Inn stood as a silent sentinel, its secrets locked away behind peeling wallpaper and dusty curtains. Room 7 remained unoccupied, a makeshift shrine to the mystery that had unfolded within its walls. Some claimed to hear strange noises coming from the room late at night, muffled voices, the sound of footsteps, or a sudden chill that seemed to emanate from behind the closed door. The case file for the Moonlight Inn murder grew thick with reports, theories, and dead-end leads. Detective Ross, now nearing retirement, found himself drawn back to the inn time and time again. He would stand in the parking lot, staring up at the window of room 7, as if willing it to reveal its secrets. But the truth remained hidden, a shadow just beyond his grasp. As Millbrook slowly began to heal from the trauma of the unsolved murder, the Moonlight Inn faded into obscurity. Its rooms fell into disrepair. The neon sign flickered and died, and eventually, the property was abandoned altogether. But even as nature reclaimed the building, vines creeping up its walls and wildlife making homes in its empty corridors, the mystery of room 7 lingered. Urban explorers and thrill-seekers occasionally ventured into the decaying structure, their flashlights cutting through years of dust and cobwebs. They would stand in the doorway of room 7, their hearts racing as they imagined the scene that had unfolded there years before. Some claimed to feel a presence, an unseen watcher that sent shivers down their spines and drove them back into the safety of daylight. The Moonlight Inn murder became a local legend, a story told in hushed whispers around campfires and at sleepovers. Each retelling added new details, embellishments that blurred the line between fact and fiction. But at its core, the mystery remained. Who killed James Hartley, and why? The answers, if they existed at all, were locked away in the crumbling walls of room 7, a secret that the Moonlight Inn seemed determined to keep. And so, the inn stands to this day, a decaying monument to an unsolved crime. Its empty windows stare out at the world like hollow eyes, holding the truth of that fateful night close to its rotting heart. The Moonlight Inn room 7's secret, a mystery that continues to haunt Millbrook, a shadow that refuses to fade, even as time marches relentlessly forward. You've been watching Vanishing Point Mysteries, where mysteries live and answers hide in the shadows. What's your theory? Leave a comment below, and if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more. And remember, sometimes the ordinary can lead to the unexplainable.